Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Well done, OP. I thought for sure that the manager was going to lay into you for stealing their customers since you sent her to a competing store, complete with a call to your manager. This was so much funnier. I don't work for your store. A decade ago, I worked as the resident technician at Staples. I repaired computers for our store's customers. Our uniform was khakis and a black polo with a lime green collar and company name and logo on the chest. I got off shift and headed over to Best Buy to look at DVDs. While I'm there, I spot a regular customer of mine. She was an odd duck, but very sweet and used to be treated like crap because she dressed like a drag queen, even though she was just a little old lady in Maine. Think tan mom crossed with any super gaudy, gold everything amateur drag queen. She just liked the weird clothes and outrageous makeup and nails. Anyway, she knows I don't work at Best Buy, but couldn't get anyone to help her. I wasn't doing anything important, and she'd bought hundreds of dollars of stuff from me over the last few months, so I started my sales questions. I like to know what people are looking for, what they intend to use the product for, and price range. Often people insist they need one thing, but actually need something completely different, and it's easier to ask rather than do exchanges. We go to the computer section, and I try to find an associate while helping her. We hop on a demo laptop, and I do a Best Buy search for things she might be interested in. What she wanted didn't appear to be in stock, so I switch over to Staples' site to see if we had it in stock. We did have it, and I told her I'd meet her at the store as soon as I finished buying DVDs. I said maybe 20 minutes as my store was only a mile or so down the road from the mall. She left, and I got into line. All of a sudden, I get yanked out of line by a man I've never seen in BB floor manager attire. He proceeds to drag me to another register, and I'm thinking, this is a rude way to open a new lane. He pulls me behind the register and tells me to open up and start ringing up customers. I just have a stupid look on my face as I don't know what's happening. I try to say that I don't work there, but he isn't listening. A couple people are staring at us from other lines. I say I can help if they really need it, but I don't know how to work their system, and I shouldn't be handling money since I don't work there. He gets all huffy, obviously not really listening. He punches in his code to unlock the register and walks off. I turn to look around, bewildered. A few people are snickering. The cashier right next to that lane said, "What the hell was that?" I replied that I have no clue and asked to speak to a manager. A call went out over the speaker system, and the same person came back and yelled at me for not working. I asked for his boss. He threw a tantrum, but the cashier called the store manager on her own as they obviously saw that their floor manager was off their rocker. The GM comes over and asks what I'm doing behind a register, and I said I didn't know. I was just trying to buy 2 movies. The GM said that I shouldn't be trying to check myself out, and I said I wasn't trying to. The floor manager keeps spouting off that the new hires are awful. Then it clicks for the GM. I lay out the story, including how the register was unlocked for me and how I could have just emptied the register and taken off. The GM lays into the FM, pointing out my uniform to a competing store with a different color scheme. The FM realized how stupid they'd been and was told to wait in the GM's office. I got my stuff rung up and paid for it at the register they had me stuck at, and I headed back to Staples. All in all, I spent an hour at BB. It was a funny story to tell the lady waiting at Staples. My boss even had me log back in to ring her out and said he'd log me out in an hour or so I'd get paid for the time I spent making a sale in my off time. That manager must have been very entitled to just grab the workers like that. It's an abusive behavior that's not allowed at all. Plus, just unlocking a register without checking on you first? Damn, I guess he got fired for that. And our second story. Hospital Karen. I'm an oncologist, meaning I specialize in cancer and cancer treatments. About 12 years ago, I ran into a Karen. I diagnosed a patient with a fairly aggressive but treatable form of leukemia. I'd taken said patient into my office and, as a minor, had his mom accompanying him. I went over treatment details and such and generally had a good talk to them about what was going on. Now, I was born in Norway, raised by a Nordic pagan dad and mom. Because of this, I have artwork of Mjolnir hanging in my office. She eventually asked me what it was, most likely to make some light in the day, and I explained its meaning and why I kept it in my office. Karen didn't take very well to this. The next remark I got was, "Oh, so you're a God hater. How do you suppose my son is going to get through this with an atheist satanic crap bag as a doctor?" Actual words. Remember it like yesterday. I made absolutely no mention to God or anything, for the record. I calmly explained to her that I had absolutely no hate towards anyone's religion at all, to which she replied, "Yeah, so I think we're going to go see another doctor. We'd rather have a better opinion than from someone who doesn't give a F about if someone lives." Thrown off, I said it was probably good to get some second opinions on treatments anyway, and she stormed her and her son out. She ended up going to a hospital across town, to a doctor I've known for years at this point. This doctor tells me this side of the story. She went in and said her son's diagnosis and wanted to discuss treatment options. She said she didn't like the feel of the first doctor, me, but didn't say my name, and that's why she went to him. After discussing with her treatment options, she said, "Yeah, that's what the other moron said too. Is there a place to get another opinion?" On top of some other very aggressive speaking. The doctor recommended her to me. For the record, I've never had another situation like this since. Her son told her apparently he liked me and to give me a shot. She caved. Through multiple sessions, she would tell me how she didn't believe her son was going to make it from a God hater and that her son was going to die because of me. This went on for months. Agony for professionalism. After a bit under a year, her son was cancer-free. At a 5-year checkup, now over 18, he thanked me for everything I've done and asked if he could have the artwork his mom freaked out about. He'd apologized many times over her behavior in the past and was a very fun kid to be around in dark times. One of my favorite patients of all time. I said no, but I knew a blacksmith in Norway. I had him hand-forge a Mjolnir necklace, and I gave it to the patient, which he wears every day as far as I know. He's training to be an oncologist one day, and saw his university on social media post a photo of him with the necklace I gave him hanging off his neck. Just because someone's a Karen doesn't mean they raised one. Oh, that's absolutely sweet. Thank you for the smile, and for all you do. I wonder if he even spends much time around his mother these days. She seems pretty damn unbearable, which is unfortunate for a kid that was suffering at the time. And our next story. Ma'am, that's not the coworker I pointed you to. I do work at the place this story happens at. I was the employee in the scenario. So this past weekend, I was taken out of the print department I work in to work register because our store is short-staffed. I was on register all day, minding my own business and checking people out, and at one point, we got a sort of small rush. I called for backup because people didn't look like they wanted to wait, and my coworker in the print department across the front of the store said she could take someone at her register. I had just finished checking a mother and daughter out for a cart full of items, and the mother was on her phone at the first register while her daughter took some of the complimentary hand sanitizer that was on the counter there. I called the next customer up and started to scan his items and let the lady behind him know that she and her friend were welcome to go check out at the other register if they didn't want to wait in line. Me, "Ma'am, she can get you over there," points across the open front area of the store where you can clearly see my coworker standing under a big print department sign waiting to check out the next customer. Dumb lady, DL, "Oh, okay, thanks." Walks to the first register, immediately starts talking to the woman on the phone and her daughter. Mom and daughter, confused head shaking. Before I could tell her that they weren't employees, my manager stepped in and let her know and pointed again in the direction of the print department. She apologized to the mother and daughter and walked off. A few seconds later, I hear the loud, awkward laugh of someone who embarrassed themselves, and I looked up to see that instead of walking to the copy and print department or paying attention to the fact that everyone who works at my store wears the same outfit, she started trying to reach over the half wall that stands between our cart return area and our self-serve printers so she could make the old man who was sending a fax on the self-serve machine ring her out. I assume my coworker walked over to take her to the print department register, but I honestly don't know. I never saw her walk out of the store, so for all I know, she's still wandering around asking cardboard display people to ring her up. Such moments, while initially awkward, often become amusing anecdotes for both employees and customers alike. It's a reminder of the importance of clear signage and communication to guide customers effectively within the store. And our last story. The HOA wants to put a lien on my house. The subdivision that I live in has been around for about 20 years. The developer put in place bylaws that expired after 15 years. The previous chairman moved out last year and let everyone know that we should probably elect a board of some sort because he wasn't going to be around to handle the bills or fix the expired bylaws. The only thing that our dues have gone to over the last 20 years has been paying the electric bill for the streetlights, the occasional plowing when it snows more than 6 inches, and some minor street repairs. Little to none of the bylaws have been enforced. No parking work trucks on the street, no livestock. 3 of the houses have chickens and 1 has a pig, no fireworks, even though we have a subdivision 4th of July party, etc. Along with that, paying the dues has never been enforced, other than a nasty gram in the mailbox reminding people to pay in February after they were due at the beginning of the year. I decided to attend the most recent HOA meeting this past weekend after we got a letter in the mail stating that a third-party company was going to be placing a lien on our house for past due HOA fees. Mind you, I've paid every year for the 6 years we've been living there. As it turns out, the previous chairman kept an Excel spreadsheet of dues paid, and there are about 10 houses that have never paid a dime, and to the point where this involves me, the first 12 years that my house was around, the dues were unpaid, and the owners previous to me and myself had kept up as expected. So the current board that was put in place is outsourcing the process of collecting the dues with a company that's placing liens on houses that are not completely paid to date, even if the current homeowner has met every payment, and being charged a pretty hefty commission for the process so that we can repair the street again after the last repairs lasted less than a year. Finally, to the point, my neighbor's retired with not much better to do and was an HOA chairman at his previous house. At our meeting over the weekend, he moved to have our current board removed and offered himself up as the replacement along with his knowledge on how to fix this situation. In the 2 days since he commandeered our HOA board, he contacted the county we live in. They're taking over maintenance for our street, including snow removal, repairs, and bug spraying in the summer at no cost. Got the subdivision on one trash company contract so that we no longer have 5 different companies picking up every day of the week, along with a consolidated bill paid by HOA dues instead of personal payments to our trash company of choice. This last one being the best part, because we're not paying for the repairs as a subdivision, we don't need any of the past due fees or the contract with the third-party company to collect them, and our dues drop from $250 a year to $125 a year based on the average electric usage from the lamps and the trash recycling pickup fees. When you buy a property, you virtually always buy all the obligations with it. By the same logic, if you found buried treasure in the backyard, the previous owner wouldn't have a claim on it. There could be exceptions for fraud by the previous owner, of course. Contracts rarely supersede criminal behavior. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.